This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a Maytag dishwasher that won't start. Some of the buttons seem to come on and other buttons won't light up. And when we press start, nothing happens. So if you're getting some of the buttons lighting up, that means that the keyboard, this part where we're pressing the buttons, is no longer working. Some of the buttons have shorted out. Some steam got in there and shorted out the connections, or the buttons are just worn out. So some are working and some aren't. So this video is going to show how to get a new keyboard and how to install it. Pretty common thing that happens to these dishwashers, but if you repair this part, you could get another 5-6 years of life out of your dishwasher. And these only cost anywhere between, say, $60 and $130 for a new keyboard. Here's some of the part numbers. There's one for black here at the top, and then white, and then I think it's biscuit is the last one. So we want to make sure we unplug the dishwasher or turn off the breaker. And we're going to open the door, and then we're going to remove some of the screws with a Torx 15 bit, and these are just the ones near the top of the dishwasher. So 3 on the side, on each side, and then a couple here on the top. That's going to allow us to remove the keyboard, and once we get the screws off, we have to just kind of wiggle the keyboard. I usually have the door rest against my knee so that I have it up a little bit higher so it's easier to get to the parts. It's actually a pretty easy procedure. You really only need a standard head screwdriver and this little Torx 15 driver or screwdriver. So I'm loosening it up. I got the keyboard loose. There's a little gasket here that you got to make sure you keep it in place. I'm going to use a standard head screwdriver to press in on a couple of tabs so I can remove this cover. And now I have access to the computer underneath. And there's just a couple of clips up near the top you have to remove. I'm removing the door latch, and that comes off really easily. A couple of tabs you pry out. And then I'll push in on 2 tabs here in the front so I can loosen up the left-hand side of the controller of the computer, and then I can lift the computer out. And there's a ribbon connector connecting the touchpad to the computer, and on this model all I need to do is just grab that and pull it. You might notice that there's some different terminals. The one closest to you should be left open. It has nothing connecting to it, but then the ones below it, that's where you connect the ribbon cable to. So I took out the old one, grabbed the new one, got the right color, and I'm going to put the little gasket from the old one right in there. I'll grab the new touchpad, and I'm just going to install these 2 modular parts. Pretty easy to do. So I'll put in the ribbon connector. Again, the terminals away from you are all going to be covered, but the one closest to you will not be covered by the ribbon cable. I'll push in the bottom legs, and then I'll push down. It'll click into place, and I've got the computer in place. And now I just put the door lock in. Again, it's pretty cool, pretty modular, easy to do. You can see where it fits in to the new touchpad. And at that point, you're essentially done. You just want to put it back together by putting the bottom part of the touchpad into the door panel first, and then you can, you gotta put the cover back in. Just clicks in place, and then push the new touchpad closed there at the top. Make sure it's in position, and then just going to add the screws back in. If anything isn't fitting quite right, just take your time and keep trying, and it'll all click back together pretty easily. These screws are all the same size, so you just want to zip them all back in. But this is a pretty common problem that we find with most modern dishwashers, is the keypad gets shorted out, or the little bubble buttons just wear out over time. It's usually the buttons that you're pressing most often, like the start button. So we've got all the screws back in. We're going to close it, and we're going to pick a cycle after we plug it back in, and everything lights up and starts up normal. So that was what was causing the dishwasher not to work. Here's the ribbon cable. It's kind of fun to take these apart, see what makes them tick. So I pried the little sticker on the front off, and I'm pulling that off, and I see these little metal bubble, we call these bubble buttons underneath. And I'm going to pry off the next layer. I'm just trying to see if there may be some water snuck in there. I think on this one it was not water intrusion or steam intrusion, but the buttons had just worn out, because when I opened it up I didn't see any kind of rust or any kind of corrosion. But just interesting to look at. So just peeling off the different layers. There's basically three layers or three stickers against this plastic, and the very bottom one is the circuit board itself. Just testing the dishwasher again. It's doing great. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. Thank you.